we just discussed about the Xbox One X, about the publishers trying to balance the machines between Xbox One X, PS4 Pro, and Rich made a great point of the difference. As in, if I make it more powerful on the Xbox One X, they're going to wait to buy an Xbox One X and they never get to that point. So there's been a rumor about Destiny 2 has been confirmed will be 30 FPS, frames per second, on both the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro. So the designer actually went up and they actually said the PS4 Pro is not powerful enough to run it at 60 FPS. So that has been confirmed. They said it's not powerful enough. There's been rumors to suggest that Xbox One X that it can run at 60 FPS on the Xbox One X. So that, of course, started rumors as in, Activision or Bungie and Sony, they made a little deal on the side, as in the best game has to be on Sony. It cannot give a better performance.
Which is kind of a known thing that has happened in the past. I don't know the ins and outs of this contract, but it's one of those things both sides will always deny and will always say they didn't do, but has kind of been exposed before, just how, like they said, we don't pay for positive coverage, and then we had those scandals a couple years ago. So
yeah, on the PC it will run at 60 FPS. So it is on the PS4 Xbox release on September 6th, 30 FPS on all consoles, even the Xbox One X that comes out 2 months later on November 7th. But PC comes out October 24th. So it comes out about a month and a half later, and that will be at 60 FPS on PC. And I know I've actually spoken to some people who are actually going the PC route, or actually not buying it on a console. They want the best version of Destiny 2, which will be in 4K, 60 FPS on a PC. But, so with those rumors starting, the Destiny 2 project lead, Mark Noseworthy, commented, and I have his comments about what he had to comment about this rumors about this side deal that potentially happened between Bungie and Sony. So this is what he had to say. We would never hold back game performance on a platform to appease a partner. No partners ask us to either. We optimize for each platform's tech to deliver the best social action game experience we can. Period. All consoles will run at 30 FPS to deliver D2s, Destiny 2, AI counts, environment sizes, and number of players. They are all CPU bound. We are currently evaluating 4K for Xbox One X. It launches after D2, and so we are focused on the launch consoles right now. So taking all that into account, do you think that there's a little side deal between Bungie and Sony, or they've just been focusing on the consoles that release now and will worry about Xbox One X because it releases 2 months? Because they're probably focusing on getting this game launched by that September release. They probably don't have time. They did say the PS4 Pro can't do 60 FPS, so why take all the time and get it 60 FPS on Xbox One X? But the one quote that I'm intrigued about is he says, we optimize for each platform's tech to deliver the best social action game experience.
Look, I've been playing MMOs for as long as I can remember. If you don't have a good running system, it drops down in frame rates. Mm-hmm. Fast, like super fast, especially when you're going against a big boss and you're going to go do Horde or whatever the fuck they call it, and depending on the MMORPG as well. I feel that they are going to deliver, and if they do, they're going to deliver a game that's going to run hopefully at 30 FPS, just standard, without it dropping below what the threshold count usually is. I don't see why this should be such a big thing. I really don't. A lot of people play a lot of games at the standard 30 FPS, and they're having just as much fun. So, I mean... Oh,
there's 2 more teraflops, that's why. We want those teraflops used, Mo.
Yeah, but...
I paid for those teraflops. I want full advantage of my teraflops.
Bullshit, because you're not buying in.
I'm making their case for them. I speak for the people. The one person that's going to buy it.
Who's going to buy the Xbox One X.
Regardless of the fact.
But not Destiny.
Regardless whether they change it or not, you're still going to play it. And you're still going to have a good time? Well, depends. Because fuck Destiny.
I think I made this point. It's why put more people on something you know it's not going to sell as well. You can patch it later on when you do your first expansion pack and maybe even make that a perk. And you don't know what the customer base is going to be. So why focus on it? So go for that. And let's be honest, there's probably a little bit of bad blood. They don't give a fuck about making Microsoft look good.
Right.
They left in a huff and thought that they should own Halo, and they didn't. And sorry, but that's the way it was.
That's like Kojima going back to Konami and paying respects. Like, come on, guys. Let's be real.
Metal Gear 6.
Yeah, Metal Gear 6, yeah.
Death Stranding and Metal Gear 2. Death Stranding is an actual secret Metal Gear game.
That's that baby that they're holding, or whatever the fuck is a live baby.
No, it's Raiden. It's a secret origin. Metal Gear Stranding.
But I think people are just nitpicking. And of course, if you are going to invest in this game console...
conspiracy theories. Which could be true or not.
Could be.
No, I think it's just not a priority.
Why?
And they also know, look at Titanfall is a perfect example. Your launch window, make or break, right? And then within 2-3 weeks, you know if that game has legs or not.
$40.
Why spend all that money to try to make it look good on a system that doesn't come out for another 2 months? Because you know those day one reviews are going to kill you, or you're going to make all your money anyway, so who gives a fuck? You'll patch it later.
They're going to buy it on Xbox One and PS4, PS4 Pro. By the time it gets to X, the majority of their sales for Destiny 2
and again, this is where what Phil Spencer's talking about, where they don't worry about the loss and benefit ratio kind of thing, is if you're really the hardcore, that's where Mo's saying, why are you making this argument? But there are the ones who are like you were bringing up, the PC players, I'm going to play it there because it's the best version. Well, guess what? They're probably going to buy it on console because they'll get it 2 months early, play it there. And then they'll buy the PC version. Hopefully, they migrate their account. If not, well, now I know all the secrets and I'll fucking gear out my guy here because I know where to grind at.
Here's the funny thing. The same thing happened at Dark Souls, believe it or not. It happened in Dark Souls 2. That's when it started with Dark Souls in general. Dark Souls ported their PlayStation and Xbox, and, it played at the standard FPS. And then... people ended up going to pick up the PC version and saw that they can upgrade the graphics and the frames per second and all that. And there was not a switch in how many people were playing. Yeah. There are a lot of people still playing on console. That didn't deteriorate anything from anybody playing that damn game. So, I mean, this is, in a way, like, I see that people want to make this a controversy, but you should spend your time on something else. Sorry. This is like, it's wasted time for those people. Just go focus on a game that you actually enjoy and go off of that. And people who are gonna jump onto the PC version, good for them. But if they don't have a good running PC, then they're fucked.
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say.
At that 4K, you need
then you're fucked, and it costs more than $500. I'll tell you that much. That's all I got.
501.
Yeah, to upgrade. So I mean, the people who aren't generally like. For instance, I couldn't tell you go buy it for PC. What, Steve? Have you ever touched a PC gaming console ever? Or just?
I played Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Was the last PC title I've played. What was that? 98.
Yeah.
And I was actually upset. It was a Christmas gift from my older brother. At the time, I was upset because I had a 64 and I wanted it on 64. But my brother actually said this to me when he got it. He's like, I got you the PC version because this is the best version. It's better than the 64, which it was. Mm-hmm. But I was like 14. I'm like, I want my 64. I want a console. But that was my last PC game, was Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
A lot of people don't want to bug with PC sometimes. They'd rather go home, get something easy, put it on. They don't want to go and install a program and then turn on the PC, wait for that to boot, and then even though it's faster, but it's
it's another coding language. And how many times have they been burned? Like Halo, was it Halo 2 or 3, where it was like a completely broken game? There was one just a year ago. I can't remember what it was. Where it came out on
It was
PC.
the collection. It was the Halo collection.
Yeah, that's what it came out like completely unplayable on PC.
Yep. Well, happened with Batman as well. Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight,
completely broken.
Glitched.
And they actually they took it off the market,
I believe. Because it was that bad and they were doing refunds.
Yeah. That they just took it off the market. It's not working, and that's happened. as well. It's harder. So Phil Spencer was asked a question similar to this, as in with the other publishers not using the full advantage, and what does that mean for Xbox One X? So Phil Spencer said this: the capabilities in this box, the Xbox One X, to make the difference extremely significant. I think about the consoles in the market today, whether it's PS4, original Xbox One S, or Pro, it's all kinds of closer in spec. So he's comparing them all similar in spec. We've hit a performance spec with Xbox One X that should make those games the most definitive version of those games. So that is what they're banking on, is that Xbox One X will be the most definitive edition of Assassin's Creed Origins, of Destiny 2, of Call of Duty, World War II. Do you think is that something that they should bet on? And with the no restrictions, same publishers make the games however you want, the requirements, you have this power if you want to use it.
See, the way I look at it, if I was a game developer and publisher and have all the rights, whatever, and I was supposed to make a game and just what's going on right now, I'm sorry, I'm going to market towards where all my sales are going to be at. And right now, like, without
2-1,
being unknown of how Xbox One X future lies, I wouldn't place all my bets on that. That's like placing a bet on not that it's wrong to place a bet on an underdog. I don't see myself winning in that aspect.
Which is the same as the Switch. Third parties were like, let's see this thing launch and see what happens until I make a fucking game, because we got fucking burned on the Wii and the Wii U. Yeah. That we invest this time and shit sales when we make a game, and it's all the shovelware is getting all the success. Like, what the fuck? We're not investing. We're not wasting our time. So the Switch so far is a success. So now third parties were waiting. All right, now we're going to start seeing some, not all third parties will be on board, because the PlayStation, Xbox are extremely powerful and they want to use the most powerful machine. Right. But they can have some fun games, such as we saw with Mario and Rabbids. Ubisoft taking advantage of some creative ideas. But that's what it was the same. The Switch, we're going to wait, and the Xbox One X. And that's the reason I'm really concerned about the X, is that's the reason why I'm buying it, is I want the most definitive version of the third-party games. Because I was going in as in all third-party games I'm getting on Xbox One X in 4K. But the publishers don't really take advantage of that and use it.
Because it's not like they're making an X version. They're making the one that's for the Xbox.
Yeah.
So it's what can they fit on that disc? What did they program for? Where did they put their resources? Because when you're making it, you're making one Microsoft version and one Sony version. And you are making it hoping that they get the best version, but you know the majority of the people that have the ownership in each of those is not the Pro and not the X. You get the standard, and then you get the standard PS4. That's what you're going for. That's what you program for. That's your definitive edition. This other stuff is nice little graphical tweaks, but it doesn't mean anything because they are not actually programming for that. If this was the PS5 and the Xbox 2 or whatever we're going to call it, then that would make sense. But it's not. It's just a little bit extra on top of it, but that's not what they're going for. Again, this is putting a bow tie on a fucking turd. That if there's nothing at its base, it doesn't matter how much you gussy up everything at the end, it's still just a turd. So that's what they did, is they gave you this awesome processing power, but there's no core to it. And that's the problem with buying the Pro, is that there's no core to it.
What's the car term that you use?
The speed limit thing. That it's nice to have a Ferrari in the engine and you can go, 200 miles an hour very quickly. But if you strictly adhere to the law or it's strictly enforced and you can never get over 60 miles per hour, what the fuck is the point of having it? If you're never going to take it there, it's only a showpiece. It's only to tell your friends 6 teraflops. It doesn't mean anything.
And that's what people are starting to question about the X, as in publishers don't take full advantage of the most powerful console ever. What does it mean to have the most powerful console ever when it's similar if someone had 4.5 teraflops, the same amount of power? Now,
to add on, what is the cost of these resources too? Does it go up in cost?
Yeah.
Of course. So a publisher that's coming in now, that they're going to look at how am I going to save some type of money? Because games are not cheap to make at all and publish and do all that. They cost millions and millions of dollars. And just the exact same thing. If you have a Ferrari, if one piece breaks on that Ferrari, what the fuck is the cost?
Yep.
That's I mean, that's where we're going.
And back to my message about their whole thing at E3. The whole reason why they sent out those development kits. Remember the story like 2 weeks going into E3 about they released another 1 gig of the system memory available for the developers?
Yeah.
Because that basically is, we want you to feel that this is your home base for what you want to code to. And they did not attract any exclusives that they announced in any way, shape, or form. No partnerships, no nothing. So that told me, I gave you everything you wanted and you still turned your nose up at it. So again, why do I want to invest in a system that they're not going to have games on? They'll have the standard ones that you have from your Xbox One, but there is nothing that is you can only run it with the X, or you really have to have it. I get it, but it's marketing BS when they say it looks best on. No, it looks best on the Xbox One because that's what they made it for. It just looks a little bit sharper, but it doesn't mean better. Like our discussion about Westworld. It does look clearer and sharper, but when I go for the movie experience, my HD TV as opposed to this 4K, I enjoyed it more because it had that glow, that softness to the picture, where yours looked like it was a digital handycam.
I enjoyed being in the TV.
I don't. I like that little layer of fuzz in between that lets you know that this is a false reality, as opposed to I'm watching someone's home movies. And that's what it looked like. It was startling to me watching that show because I thought it was very cinematic, and then when I watched it in 4K, I went, what the fuck is this?
Wait until you watch porn in 4K. Ooh, being in there on the bed.
Just what I need. Really bad tan jobs and bruises everywhere. Oh, look at all the ingrown hairs.
In 4K, absolutely. That's why I want that 4K player.
I could just imagine Ridge. How much makeup did this bitch put on? That's not her real face.
So we don't think the Destiny 2 is a conspiracy or any side deals. It's just they don't want to. They're focused on the consoles now, 2 months down the road.
It just makes sense to go towards what makes sense for your business plan.
Exactly.
Now, it's kind of like you were saying with the Switch and the Wii and the Wii U. Is it doesn't make sense if we don't know that it's going to be a success. Why allocate more funds?
You know, they're catering to their public as well. They've sold millions and millions of copies of Destiny. They're going to cater to those people, and those people are going to
sell millions more.
And those people are going to pick it up.
Yep.
So I don't see Bungie at a loss at all right now. Good for them.
And to sell the difference, as in PS4 Pro is upscaled 4K compared to $100 more native 4K. Is there that big of a difference between the two? Is it $100?
Well, we're going to see once it releases. I'm sure everyone's going to be doing comparisons.
But that's where I'm arguing. Is it really that important?
Yeah.
It really
like,
is.
if it looks better, but it still plays like shit, who cares?
Right.
Crackdown. Well, you said the news on the floor said it plays well, but
it plays well, but it looks like garbage.
It's a 360 launch title. No.
That's like
just joking. Not that bad. Just doesn't.
It looks pretty bad.
You're showing 4K.
If anybody that played Crackdown 2, I'm worried that this is another Crackdown 2. I love Crackdown 1. Crackdown 2 was hot garbage.
So that is our take on the Destiny 2 30 FPS on both Xbox One X and the PS4, and continuing our Xbox One X conversation. Please let us know in the comments below if you think it's a conspiracy theory that there's a side deal going on between Sony and Bungie, or there's no side deal, it's just the publisher looking out after their own resources and for the players.
That's when you cue the X-Files music.
No, they already did their launch event at Area 51, didn't they? Or Roswell, or that one? All the green lights and everything. Cirque du Soleil was there?